Now we're going to take a look at building systems in your program. Systems are any process that is repeated. And it's important to keep in mind that systems happen no matter what. Whether you plan them or don't plan them, they're going to happen, they're going to fall in place. So planning it seems like the best course of action always. Some examples of systems might be buying supplies. What does that look like? Do your team members, group leaders, write down what supplies they need, then provide them to the site coordinator, have the site coordinator review them, see what is available in storage versus what they've asked for, and then look it up online to see where it falls in the budget? Or is there a different system that's in place? Could it be that your group leaders have a certain budget per room and they decide what they're going to use that budget for each month? There's different systems that can be put in place. If there's no system in place for that example, then it might fall to somebody saying, oh, I'm doing a science experiment tomorrow. Can you get me borax, glue, just that long list? And you say, yep, I guess I will. So that isn't a system that's necessarily so great because there's not a lot of planning in it. And a lot of times, I see this happening in a lot of programs, it then falls on the director to find a way to pay for those items because maybe it's not in the budget this month, or the credit card isn't available, or it has to be purchased through an online site. And then that cost falls on the director. So these systems are important to have in place. Some other system examples might be new children joining the program. Once they've signed up, what is the process after that? It could also be staff orientation or marketing for your program or marketing for summer camp. It could be hiring, staff scheduling, professional development plans for your team, or even family engagement. So there's a lot of different systems that happen every single day in your program. And it's important, what we're going to work on in this next unit of the course is thinking about what elements of a system need to be in place and how can you make sure that the systems in your program are well developed, well planned, and work best for you and your team. So let's start by taking a look at an example of one of BOSTnet's systems. Here you see our BOSTnet online course systems plan. It's made within Lucidchart, which if you're making plans with a kind of complicated system, it's nice to have the visual in place. And so we use Lucidchart to develop this system that you see on the screen here. So as you can see, on the left-hand side, that little box says that this section of the system, the plan, is registration and marketing. So we have the starting point where we decide which courses are going to be run. And the way that we've developed these is it is based on the amount of weeks between when the course starts and when it finishes. So up here, these are the time ahead. So 8 weeks ahead, we need to create a flyer to put on the website to advertise the course. We also need to, check in to make sure that everything is on track, that the location is correct, that we understand how many people are going to be in the course, those different pieces. We send out email marketing at 6 weeks, and then at 4 weeks, if needed to fill more spots, then we continue to do so. And 2 weeks in, we reach out to whoever's funding the course, the region, EPS, whoever it might be, to just make sure that we have the enrollee list and any extra marketing that is needed. And throughout this, you see update tracking because we do track this on a Google Sheet so that everybody in the office is on the same page. So we keep that in mind so that at every part of the process, we are updating, communicating with one another, and working through it. Then we move on to once the course has started. So understanding that, then we have the enrollee list, and we're going to upload, make sure that our online course is up to date. We're going to email everybody to let them know that we're starting, get their logins, and then we have some pieces that happen during the course. And so I won't go into all of it. with you. As you can see at the bottom, there's an arrow that continues because it keeps going. And so my point being that when we've made this online course system, we've been thinking about who is involved. We've thought about each of the different steps that needs to take place. And I will tell you that this was developed over the course of years of running online courses. This wasn't something that came to us and saying, here's where we're going to do it, perfect, it works, the end. But this is something that's been developed over the course of time that we've been doing online courses. So each time we run it, we learn a little bit more, whether or not we think, oh, we could reword this welcome email a little bit more. Maybe we need to change the timeline here. And so we further refine it each time that we run the course. And so systems is a very general term, but we're remembering that systems in the context of this course, we're thinking about any process that happens more than once. So I want you to take a second, pause the video, and think about 3 systems that are in place in your program. They can be planned or not planned, any way you want, and think of 3 systems. And then I want you to think about them in terms of which of these systems is good, which one isn't so good, and which one kind of falls in the middle. You might come up with 3 that are all good, all 3 in the middle, or all 3 not so good. Up to you, but pause the video and do that quickly to yourself. Just write it down or keep it in your mind. All right, so I hope that you have your 3 systems in place, or 3 systems written down, and we're going to start looking at what makes a good system or a bad system. So a good system has an objective. That means that you have a purpose for that system, a reason why it's in place, and you know what the end goal is. So with our online course example, our objective is to make sure that people have a good experience with our courses and that those who sign up complete the courses, so that there's never a problem of somebody not understanding how to start the course, forgetting that the course began, but making sure that we're getting people onto those sites, making sure they have a good experience, and that they reach the learning objectives for the course. A good system should also be planned. Like I said before, a system is going to happen whether it's planned or not. These things happen over and over again, so you might as well have a plan in place to make it a good system. So it's planned. You have step-by-step plans. It's measurable. With our online courses, we track how many people started the course and completed the course, how many people never began the course, how many people met the learning objectives. So we measure that at the end of each course, and that keeps us focused on, are we meeting our objective? The stakeholders also need to be considered. So thinking about who is part of that system, what are their needs, how can you reach them? With our online course example, we're remembering that these people don't have a lot of time, probably, if you're an after-school professional and you're taking our online course. So we're thinking about how can we get them information quickly in chunks so that we are not overwhelming them with emails while they're working on their course. With the example that we were talking about at the beginning of purchasing supplies, does your team know the budget? If not, then they probably need to give you a list that then you need to pare down. Are they able to have it done on time? So thinking about the stakeholders and what their needs are. The system should also be repeatable. Once you have that plan in place, it can be repeated and you can work through it each time. And with a good system, that reflection is built in. So you're thinking about that measurement at the end. Did you reach your objective? And then saying, did this system work for us? Or do we need to make adjustments through it? So with the online course example, one of the changes that we made was, instead of having people reaching out to us to say they didn't understand necessarily pieces of it, we created a how-to tutorial YouTube video. So when they got on the site, they were able to see, okay, here are the different pieces I can click on. So once we saw that, we were reflecting that that was an issue, then we found a way to fix it. So some qualities of a bad system are just the opposites, really. There's no clear objective. It's just happening because it has to happen. There's no plan in place. It can be, maybe it's measurable, but it isn't being measured. The stakeholder isn't identified or considered. And there's no reflection built in. There's no time to look at it and think about, is this going well? Are we meeting our objectives? What should we be doing differently? And so those are the qualities of a good system and a bad system. After this video, we're going to go into a little more details about creating a system, a good quality system, in 7 steps. But I want you to now think about those systems that you wrote down about 5 minutes ago. Do you still think they fall in those categories where you said a good system, middle system, or not so good system? Or do you feel like they're moving around now? So reflect on that a little bit, and we'll dive deeper into systems in the next video.